Up next, we got the National League Central Division. The Chicago Cubs are going to win the NL Central in 2024. Look, the re-signing of Cody Bellinger makes me think that they're, one, going to have the same offensive production as last year, but now they have a better rotation. They signed Ibmignaga. I might have mispronounced that. Sorry if I did, but he's nicknamed the throwing philosopher. We've talked about him a few times on this podcast. Look, they won the division last year. They got better with small signings. However, though, if the Cincinnati Reds add another piece like a Snell, like a Bauer, I think that they could steal this division easily. They have Dela Cruz, Hunter Green, Jonathan India, Matt McLean, a real young core there. They added Jamer Candelario, and even if they bring back Trevor Bauer, I mean, that's a real big threat there. They played some real good baseball last season, but to be honest with you, I do think that the Cards, the Pirates, the Brewers, I think they're kind of out of it. The Brewers went backwards. They lost Corbin Burns. The Pirates are still young. They had moments last year of really good baseball, but I just don't think they can compete long term with the Cubs or the Reds. And then the Cardinals, I just feel like they're missing a lot of pieces. They have really good players, but they just have very vacant holes on their roster. So that's what I think.
So my NL Central is wide open, but I think the champ is going to be the NL Central champ will be the Cincinnati Reds. Mainly just because that division is so wide open. Those guys are so young that I really feel that this is the year that they probably take a step. This is the time to do it. I do agree that the pitching staff needs a piece. I don't know who that piece is, but if they become if they become buyers at the deadline, that team can be very scary. So I you kind of nailed it on the head with the Cardinals. Good players. Don't know if they figure it all out. The Cubs, I like the addition of Counsell. I think that's an X factor in that division. But when you look at the Reds lineup, it's kind of complete. Kind of reminds me of the Diamondbacks.
You know, I like the Reds move a lot. Dino, you touched on if they can add and be buyer. If they add Trevor Bauer, they catapult to winning that division in my opinion. But you're both wrong. The it is tough to do once you start getting in your head about thinking about it. The NL Central champion will be the St. Louis Cardinals. They're going to go from worst to first. They were 70. I had to look it up. They were 71 and 91 last year. They're 20 games under 500 for a team that has dominated that division for 30 years almost. So I think you both touched on it. I think it was a transition year. They didn't have Yachty. They didn't have Wainwright. They both retired. So they're going to be go. They did retire, right?
Wainwright played last year, but he was horrible. He had like a 7 ERA.
Okay. So we'll edit that. But Yachty didn't play at all, right?
Nope.
Okay. So you guys both touched on it. They're going through a transition year, and that transition year was losing Yachty or Molina. You know, when you have players like Goldschmidt and Arenado, you think that they can just pick right back up. But when you lose a clubhouse guy like that, and then Wainwright clearly wasn't himself, the dominant force that he had been his entire career. Wilson Contreras was kind of playing in the outfield, didn't know where to put him. I think they have a bounce back year because that division is wide open. And sleeper pick, I got to go with my Pirates. I know the Reds are going to be good, and the Reds kind of remind me of what I want the Pirates to be: young and electric, and have young ball players all over the field succeeding. But look out for the Bucks, man. They've added a couple good pieces. I've talked about a couple of them at a previous podcast, but those pieces I think are actually going to get them over the hump. I think they're going to be above 500 this year.
I hope they are. I think it's fun when the Pittsburgh Pirates make the playoffs. Those years when it was the Reds and the Pirates in the wild card for, I believe that maybe like that 3-year span was awesome.
It's
One
electric.
of the best clips in the world is the whole Johnny Cueto thing. Pittsburgh fans getting in his head.
Amazing.
Drop it down in the comments, though, on who you think is going to win the National Central Division. We want to hear from you.